Reality TV should be fun. Bravo, not fun.
Not fun whatsoever.
But are you ready to get down to reality?
Let's get down to reality. Welcome to our third episode of Down to Reality. I'm your host, M, also known as Connection Queen X.
And I am your other host, Ro, also known as Reality Ops.
And we have a lot to talk about today because what in the solar system is going on in Bravo land, Bravoverse, Bravo anything?
It has been a crazy freaking year, but a really crazy week too.
But why do I feel that February in itself could have been a whole year?
It was that extra day. That extra day
right.
is what did it say.
But April Fools, we know about that date, right? Is there any type of thing for a leap year? Is this like a leap year joke? I don't know, but I just felt like the memes that were memed that day of anybody who watches Bravo were hysterical because I could never relate more. It was like left, right, up, down, center. There was always something happening yesterday. It was nuts.
Ludicrous leap year.
I love
There
that.
you go.
Oh my God, I love that so much. You know, I love that word too.
I know. Okay, so let's tell them what we're going to talk about today because we have a smorgasbord of shit. We're going to start with Rachel Leviss, her lawsuit against Tom Sandoval and Ariana Madix, and naming 1 to 50 does. We're going to talk about Jax and Brittany and their split, not split, split, not split, split. Another thing we're going to talk about that we're excited about is The Valley. Then we're going to do a little Vanderpump recap from episode, was it 4? I always forget.
5.
From episode 5.
Crazy. We're already a month into, past a month into it.
Which not that much has happened for it to be that far into the show.
Correct.
But we're going to talk a little bit about that episode. I think overwhelmingly you all felt like it was a boring episode. So we're going to talk a little bit about it, just some overall thoughts about some scenes, not too much. Then we've been saying we're going to talk about some other shows. The main show that we want to talk about is Summer House, but the problem is there's so much going on in Summer House right now that we talk too much about it. So we're going to release that as a second episode that should come out the day after you hear this episode. And in that second episode that we have Summer House, we're also going to talk more about Sheena and Brock and OCD, since Sheena has OCD and I have OCD. And it's just a little bit of a longer conversation. So we're going to pair that with Summer House, and that's an episode that's going to come out after this one the following day. So let's get started with this lawsuit.
Yeah. Where do you want to start? Where do we start? I'm
Okay.
just still baffled. I'm still processing that this actually happened because the whole leap year, March 1st thing, the timing of it, is it a little coincidental? I don't know.
Well, so let's just explain for those of you that don't know. Rachel Leviss is suing Tom Sandoval and Ariana Madix. And neither of us are lawyers here, so we're just going to do our best job presenting this to you, but mostly giving our opinions on it. But one thing she is suing them for, one count is against Sandoval, and it's for eavesdropping. Okay, so this is basically for him recording her without her consent, without her knowledge. Then there is a second one, and it's against Ariana and does 1 through 50. Same with the first does 1 through 50. And that's for revenge porn and distribution of video. So that's saying that Ariana
Allegedly
obtained this video and distributed it to people. Now, when you're looking this up, okay, if you already follow Vanderpump Rules, everything, Ariana has said before, she said this on Sheena's podcast, and Brad, her best friend, had said this on, I believe it was Nick Vile's podcast, that she only sent the video to herself and Rachel from Tom's phone. Okay. Distributed, what I'm hearing typically means several people or group of people. So they are alleging that she distributed to more people. And if that's the case, she can be, unfortunately, in a lot of trouble. That's the second cause of action. The third cause of action is invasion of privacy. So that's against Ariana Madix, Sandoval, and Does 1 through 50. And that's acquiring the video, so taking the video and distributing the video. So it's just an invasion of privacy, like capturing this video without her knowledge. And the last one is intentional infliction of emotional distress. And so this one is interesting. This is against Sandoval, Maddox, and Does 1 through 50. And it's the emotional distress that she is blaming on Sandoval, of course, for taking this video without her consent, but mostly on Ariana Madix for what was said at the reunion and the way that she came down on her with her words at the reunion. So, all right, let's get into that. So people know a lot about this by now, and by the time they hear the podcast, they'll know more. But I know people have messaged wanting to know our opinions on it. So let's talk about those opinions. What do you think?
Absolutely. Okay, so here's the thing. I feel it is so fair for Rachel to come at Tom. 1,000%. Are you kidding me? He took like videos of you and you were not privy to that. Go get him. But Ariana, that part baffles me, like to the point where I really am speechless because I'm struggling to formulate cohesive thoughts about the feelings I'm feeling because I'm just so confused. It's like I've read so many things online, obviously too. My whole thing is why? Why would she come after Ariana after her own behaviors that she did? I just feel like the way that it is hitting me, it's like somebody, for lack of better words, like pushing you and then being like, "I'm sorry I pushed you. Can I hug you?" It's just weird. Like it doesn't make sense to me. She's, apologizing to Ariana on her podcast. She's, doing all of these things, but then this happens and this
What
came
do you mean
from
hug you
me.
and then push you down again?
Like I felt like Rachel was or was trying to denote remorse in her podcast and, going away and getting the mental health help that she got. But
Mhm.
now I just feel like she ripped the carpet from under Ariana. Like Ariana has literally not spoken about you. She
No.
has truly kept your name out of her mouth. And I feel
Yeah.
like she's handled everything with class. Why?
Yeah.
You I don't wanna say you started this, you created this, whole Scandoval thing, because it takes 2 to tango, but you were a part of something that was such a major downfall in her life. It's like, think about this is where I would love for her to be empathetic and just think about if that was you, Raquel if that was you, Rachel, what would you have done in that moment? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
That yeah,
Um,
that's mo a piece of, I guess, how I feel because I have different thoughts, I feel like, almost every hour.
so one of the things she's saying too about it is she's saying that Ariana also as early she's saying as last fall basically knew that there were things going on, that they weren't being discreet and would make comments and said in December had said, save this for a story for season 11, like using it, basically saying, we're going to use this for a storyline. Like, don't be handsy. Rachel's alleging that she said something about don't be handsy. The problem with reading this too is when I'm reading it, I'm realizing that most of it sounds like hearsay. It sounds like things that people are telling her that they heard or saw and not straight from Rachel, and that's what I'm confused about, like, how we're able to have this whole lawsuit over what a lot of what seems like to me to be hearsay. They even cite things like Reality Blurb.
Oh,
This
yeah. I did
this
see that.
this lawsuit is written like an article to me,
Mhm.
like, basically taken pieces of different different articles and different, sources everywhere and just, like, putting it into a lawsuit. It's I don't know, I'm not super familiar with law. I mean, I love watching these court cases on TV. I love Emily D. Baker, and I'm waiting for her to do something on this. If you don't follow Emily D. Baker, she's on everything, but especially on YouTube, love her. She
Yeah, we
just
need, like, a debrief from somebody who can actually give us, like, a solid, comprehensive debrief.
I need Emily because this lawsuit is apparently okay, the intention is to go to court and they're gonna have a jury.
Yes, I
And it
did see that on the papers, I did see that. They are asking for a jury.
So if that's the case, I
Could you
mean,
imagine getting called for trial for that as, like, a juror?
um,
I mean, I
no, I
can't.
can't,
We would
but,
have
like
to say we were biased.
well, you wouldn't be allowed to be on the
Yeah,
stand, yeah.
we would not.
This will show Tom Sandoval that not everybody knows about Scandoval, because it's not gonna be like the Johnny Depp case where it was
Mhm.
very difficult to get somebody on that stand. This is different. Not everybody knows Vanderpump Rules, not everybody knows Scandoval, whether or not it was on CNN. Um, but it's just interesting because so there were 2 videos too. I don't think a lot of people knew about that. There were actually 2 videos that were found on the phone and that were sent to Rachel and Ariana. She says Bravo wouldn't let her discuss her side and issued a gag order against her. They also allege in this lawsuit that James kicked the family dog 4 times. By the way, not Graham. Okay, her mom's dog or their family dog. 4
Oh,
times.
okay, okay. I thought that so it's Rachel's family's dog.
Yeah, that wasn't Graham.
Okay. I didn't
Um,
know that, thank you.
oh yeah, you're so a lot is included in here, and I don't understand why. Like, why throw James in there? It's because 'cause you're gonna bring him up at a later date. Like, why wouldn't that be separate? The whole thing confuses the shit out of me, but I'm not a lawyer, so and
I
we're
mean, no,
making that
same
clear.
here. I mean, you're talking to me ops, I'm definitely a wee bit confused.
I just wanna say really important for everybody that's listening, these are our opinions only, okay? Only our opinions on the matter.
Yeah, we're
Nothing
like
more than that.
yeah, we're 2 little, peeps on this planet Earth, and we do not claim that our opinion is best, better, or the greatest whatsoever. Another point I just feel like it's important to note is, like, Ariana's always been such, like, a woman supporter, and when she was on Sheena's podcast, she used certain language that really, I mean, made it pretty clear where she stands on that, like, I feel like Ariana was even feeling for Rachel during Sheena's podcast. Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you know what clip I'm talking about?
Yeah, she said it wasn't right. She shouldn't have been recorded if she was recorded without consent. If she was, that was not right and that's wrong. She's
Yep,
defending her in those situations. I
correct.
They're claiming distribution of the video. I personally cannot picture Ariana Madix, who is so clear about her feelings on bodies and her own insecurities of her body. I cannot picture her sending this video to multiple people. Why would you even want to? Like, personally, I would never want to send a video like that. That would be so mortifying. It's mortifying enough, but, like, why would she even wanna send the video? Telling them is enough. And they're also saying in this lawsuit, and we talked about this before, but Rachel has mentioned before, I think it was on the podcast. Yeah, it had to be on the podcast. That's the only place we've heard her talk besides here. But that people know details. The only details people are saying and know are that she was pleasuring herself in the video, and it was
Right,
on
and, like,
FaceTime.
come on, we're all sleuths. You don't think that that would have gotten out eventually? Drake's ding-a-ling flew out there. I just feel like if it was distributed, it would have been very hard for it to not get out there.
Very hard for it, especially with the way people are, sadly, like, trying to make a buck.
Correct.
So
That's a great point too, though. That's a really good point too. That's what I'm saying. That's what gives me I mean, beyond just really feeling like I see Ariana for who she is as a person, that's another great point too. I don't feel like it was distributed. Personally, that is my opinion.
in saying that this lawsuit seems, like, riddled with fear on Rachel's part, like, fear of it being out there one day, and I can't even imagine that, like, 1, I can't imagine doing what she did, but on the other side of it, if something like this were out there of me, again, would never be, but if it were, I would be so scared knowing that I hurt this person, I did this terrible thing to this person. How do I know this person is not gonna get back at me, whether it's now or one day in the future? Kind of like the Stassi video also that Lisa had given
Mhm.
money for to get rid of Kim Kardashian's video. You know, I could see her living in kind of constant fear of this. At the same time, this
I
is what
know, but
happens when you do something like this. It should never happen that you have to fear this getting out
oh,
ever.
ever, ever, ever.
But,
No, no,
like,
no.
you shouldn't have done this in the first place. And I have to add to this, in the article I keep calling it an article, it's a lot, it's the first step of her suing them, okay? We'll see if it goes through, but it says, "However, given Sandoval's apparent practice of secretly recording their video calls, Leviss has every reason to assume there are additional illicit videos and or photographs of her that she has not yet seen. So, like, this was a thing that they did, and we've heard people talk about this before, like this being a thing. I just, I think it's also strange saying Sandoval's apparent practice of secretly recording their video calls. Is this just apparent because of this situation, or have you heard of him recording the calls in the past? And if so, why did you continue this practice of taking these phone calls?
Still, I feel a certain type of way. Like, ladies, do not send any part of your body to anyone, like, ever, because there is a very good chance it could get out there. And I feel like that, I don't want to say it's common knowledge, but it's just like thinking about like long term and like events, like every action has a reaction, things like that. I feel like those are good pieces to know. But like, if you do trust someone and really trust someone, I could see somebody slipping up and being like, oh no, I trust them, I can send this to them, I know it'll never get anywhere.
Oof. So, if that is true that he recorded her and she had no knowledge of it, and we heard this on TV also, they would have to prove that she gave him consent either in writing or in a recording. So, if
Okay.
they don't have proof of that, he's screwed. And whether or not she gave him consent, if it's not written or in audio somewhere, he's screwed. And she's saying she didn't give him consent. And if that's true and he recorded these without her consent, well then that's fucking horrible. That's a horrible, disgusting thing to do. Like recording that and not telling the person. But we have to find out,
But it's
is that what happened?
Sandoval too. It's like, it's Sandoval. He was not making any good, he has not made good choices. And like, could I see Tom record her without her consent? Yes. But could I see Ariana distribute that? No, I don't.
Mm. So here's the thing. She is suing Ariana for intentional infliction of emotional distress. Intentional infliction of emotional distress. Could Ariana not say the same thing?
A thousand
She
percent.
she cheated with her partner
Of
and
10
on
years.
national out of 10 years of national television and lied to her face in front of all of us on video, like e embarrassed the shit out of her, could have put her into this terrible mental place, and by the way, she might have been. We have no idea what's going on behind closed doors, like we've said before,
Right.
and I feel like how honestly, I the thing that I'm disappointed in is I really feel like she has made growth, but I don't know where her advisement is coming from and who she has that can tell her the right things. And if she's able to make these decisions on her own or not, or if she just has so many voices going at her, telling her things, because I, her thoughts and her actions to me are all over the place.
That's
Between,
what I was saying earlier with like the podcast stuff. I'm so confused. Like,
you're going to be able to use that podcast in court. Like her words on her podcast contradict the words on the lawsuit.
oh, that's a good point too, actually, because she had, I mean, she's coming. That was a great point. Sorry, that just kind of sparked a thousand different thoughts in my head. That was a very good point because that absolutely could be used. And like, again, the narrative that she has been sharing, it's confusing. I feel like there's a lot of not, you said it just before, not idiosyncrasies.
Contradictions?
Yes, the contradictions. That's what I was trying to get at earlier. Like, that does not connect for me. What she's saying in her podcast and what this lawsuit is now saying, I'm like, we're hearing two different people. I'm confused. The
It's
other
so
thing is
confusing. It's
with
so confusing. Even in this document, I'm confused. It's all over the place.
like, her saying like the emotional distress, I obviously 1,000% agree with you, Ops. Like, I'm so confused by that because in the same breath, how are you suing Ariana for that when you absolutely could have caused the same for Ariana?
I don't get how she's honestly,
And also, what about, I mean, I don't know. Again, we're not lawyers. What about freedom of speech? Ariana, this was like filmed 3 weeks after. I would have had the same jargon probably to say to her.
yeah, I don't get it. And by the way, on that video, the woman was saying, like, some, like, lawsuit like this, a person won $1 billion. And so, yeah, what is her intention here? Does
That's a
she
great
like,
question. I
does she
love
have
that question.
a vendetta against Ariana? Because that's what I feel like. First, you take her partner, and now you're suing her. Why? What? To me, it doesn't it's so fucked up to me.
No, literally, when you were like, "What?" No, literally, "What?" Like,
It's,
I
like,
just want
so
I'm
fucked up.
echoing what you're saying because same. And I feel like not just us, if you go online, any social media platform, people are genuinely confused by that part, not by her suing Tom. That's super valid if, in fact, that the allegations are true. But the
Yeah, that is
Ariana
valid.
part is like, "What? Come
What?
again?"
And I also, like you said before, waiting a year to sue, I think that was her I think she only had a year to do it, but it's all very, very strange, and I'm gonna tell you something. I was really happy that she went to a mental health facility for 3 months and took care of her mental health and has talked about her mental health on the podcast, and I feel like what she's learned has been really good.
Yeah, no,
But
same.
I can't help but feel like if back then she was advised and listened, not like Tom who doesn't listen, and listened to somebody who said, "Go over here, go do this now, get your mental health, go into treatment, and we can use that later as proof of how it hurt you." Can't help but wonder that. Sorry, can't help
I
but wonder
mean,
that.
I definitely
I hope not, but I can't help but wonder that.
well, yeah, I mean, it definitely does help if you have medical documentation for certain legal things. So yeah, I could see where you're coming from.
Yeah. And not to say she didn't need it. I mean, this is definitely something that could warrant needing help. But I do think she might have been advised,
Yep,
right?
agreed. Yeah, no, I definitely could see that. And I mean, if you look up any type of like mental health stuff, just Google it. I feel like there's always information about like the necessary medical documentation that helps to support different cases.
Although, in saying that, we should add that the Meadows where she went is also an addiction treatment center, which, okay, if she needed treatment for addiction issues, like she did talk about how she was drinking too heavily and things like that, and they brought this up in the document. But that also contradicts what she was saying, which was she needed to go here for the intentional infliction of emotional distress. So, just a lot of things. These are just our thoughts.
Just our own personal thoughts.
Um, but I think that this would have read so differently if it was like, I'm just suing Tom Sandoval because he recorded me without my consent. But now her coming up to Ariana, whose world she already, yes, did she come out on the side of it, on the other side of it doing great? Yes, looks like that. But I can't fathom how she's doing this to Ariana. I honestly, like, it's mind-blowing to me. So what you said before, it's like pushing someone, hugging them, saying they're sorry, and then, like, pushing them down again, but then this time, like, in the gutter.
It's just so confused, and I feel like this could have been an opportunity for, like, potentially Rachel and Ariana to, like, band together and be like, "Screw Tom. He sucks," you know? And instead it's, "No, I'm coming at both of you now."
Yeah.
It's just yeah.
She also makes allegations of the cast, like, dehumanized by the cast. She talks about Sheena throwing her into the wall.
Mhm.
They talk about Katie Maloney saying, "I'm gonna set you on fire." James saying the poo-poo head. Like, all of this was in there.
But, like, this is where
Didn't James call Sandoval the poo-poo head?
yes, or at least I thought so. That was the
That's what
impression I
I
had.
thought.
But
I'm looking
also,
it
I'm
up.
genuinely confused because, like, what about I mean, again, like, this will probably highlight how, like, non-legal I am, but what about freedom of speech? They're not allowed to just say that? No?
I don't know, you're right, I don't freaking know. Did James call Rachel a poo-poo head? Hold on, did
Did
James
you
call
just Google
Rachel
that?
Yeah, of course I Googled it. If you ever saw my Google search history, it's the
We
weirdest
should
thing
go
you've
to
ever seen probably.
literally, though, say
I mean, it's gotten better because I've learned to not rely on Google because it's a problem, but, um,
No, this is
hmm.
very funny though. I think we should do a little segment of like what our Google search is, only because of our professions too. I feel like we might have somewhat similar Google searches.
James poo poo head? No, I mean, I don't see anything about calling Rachel a poo poo head. He called Sandoval. Oh, and oh, no, that's right, he said, "Both of you, poo poo heads."
Oh, he did. He said both of you.
Oh, so she was looped with Sandoval. They're both poo poo heads. Remember the point? Both of you, poo poo
Yes,
heads.
I do, and I can literally see it clearly in my head.
I mean, that was a great reunion. Poo poo heads? You're offended by poo poo heads? Come on.
You
There's a lot
literally
worse than poo poo heads.
what? There's a lot worse. What do you mean? Ariana's partner's peepee was in you. That's pretty bad. You can't take poo poo head.
I did feel bad for her, like, I get it. If Sheena really threw her into the brick wall and they're saying here punched her, I heard she didn't punch her, the story keeps changing, but if she really did get hurt by that and thrown into a wall, again, we don't know, it's alleged, it's one person's story against another person's story, but if that happened and watching it back, the reunion, I mean, we were just like, "Yeah," because we're like, "F you, look what you did." But when you think about her as a human being and then having to take all that, I obviously feel for her. We've talked about this before. I feel like she was grossly misled and understood things a certain way, and I think she has a hard time possibly, reading situations and I don't know, just reading situations, and I feel bad when I watch it, but at the same time, like, she did that when they were in front of her, when she was in front of them, and then she goes in the back room and is laughing with Sandoval, and
Mhm.
I just don't know what to believe with her. Like, I feel like if I could talk to her, maybe it'd be different, but, like, I just don't but actually maybe not because she talked to Ariana plenty, and I honestly, like I said before, I can't help but feel like she has this vendetta against Ariana. Like, why are you doing this to her? You can take all her money right now. Like, if uh, the video didn't go anywhere. The video didn't go anywhere.
But that's the
Uh,
yes. No, no, that's the other thing though too. That's why I'm also a little confused because I'm like, "Wait, girlfriend, your lawyer, your team sent out a cease and desist." And then honestly, ops, do you remember hearing about it after like the initial burst of it? Because I don't. It really like was quieted.
yeah. No, I really don't. No. Oh, by the way, there was a really funny line in here as if this is like a show, and I keep wanting to call it an article even though it's a lawsuit, saying that she was taken by an older man. Like, he he's older, obviously, but he's 11 years older than
And
her.
this bothers me though too
11
because
years.
it's like Rachel and I are the same age. Like, girlfriend, I'm sorry. That is, I understand where you're frustrated and where you could be concerned and upset if he did, in fact, record you without your consent, right? I don't think it's fair for you to say, though, like, when I think of predator, I think of like people that are like preying on like young girls. Rachel, you were like 2 years away from 30.
Yeah, I
That,
know.
and the only reason I'm saying
His
this is because
girlfriend now is younger, or the 23-year-old. His publicist, Riley. His publicist,
That's what I'm
Riley.
saying though, like, this is and again, me and Rachel are the same age, like, I don't see how is that why they're calling him a predator, or are they calling him a predator for recording without her consent? I don't know
No,
what
I think it's, like, the manipulation that they
is
feel,
and that's fine, but I just don't think it's fair for them to, like, label their ages and have that be a point of action. It's like, no. No, 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 no,
right.
no. It's not like she's 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. No, like, her brain was fully developed. No, no,
Yeah.
no.
Like, the part about, like, people silencing her and all that, if that's true, that's not fair. Everybody did speak about it everywhere, and then if she wasn't allowed to speak on it, that doesn't but I don't get how that would be.
Are you talking about, like, the gag order part?
Yeah, I don't get why she would be the only one not allowed to speak on it. Like, why didn't she just speak on it?
Yeah,
To me,
that
it doesn't
part
really
does
make sense.
no, that part also confused me because I do agree, like, if she for some reason did have a gag order, then I don't think that that's fair because the whole cast was extremely verbose during that time, and I think it would only be appropriate for her to also be able to share her side of things because I am into fairness, and even if she did something wrong, I still as a human, she deserves an opportunity to share her side of it, but that doesn't why would she just have a gag order and no one else?
Yeah, and then they were claiming that, Bravo basically should have let everyone know that she was in the meadows, but then they were also saying, like, protect your privacy, and, like, why couldn't anybody from her side let everybody know and let that be out there and known where she was if they wanted the whole spa thing, I didn't feel like anybody should have she could have come out and corrected that, like,
Mhm.
anyone else could have come out and corrected that, so I just don't get there's so much blame being pointed on everyone else, and that's where I have a big problem with it. I just also, at the same time, don't wanna take away from what she experienced. I think what she experienced was horrible, but do you need to sue to handle it like this? And
Right,
it just
yeah.
makes me wonder, like, what is your end goal?
It doesn't I'm like, it
Yeah,
cannot compute.
but yeah, anyway, we'll see. We'll see what's true, what's not true. If Ariana did distribute this video to many people, obviously that's a problem. Obviously, I would not agree with that. I can't picture her doing that. But if she did, then that is a big problem, and
I
that's
got
not
you
okay.
completely. No, absolutely is not okay. I do not agree with that, but like you said, I
We'll see
cannot
though.
picture her doing that whatsoever, and at this point, I really can't handle anymore, like, from Bravo.
Yeah. Well, these are Bethany's lawyers, right? Or these these are the lawyers that went against Bravo, which by the way, did you hear Bethany said she's not doing her podcast anymore, the Rewives or whatever, the because this is all getting too much and she doesn't want to be involved in this. It's too dark or something.
What? No, she did not.
Yeah, she did. Yes,
Bethany,
she
you
did.
this is
Yes.
also, like, so contradictory. Are you kidding me? You created
No, I'm not kidding. See?
No, and my brain is reeling right now, so just give me a quick second to process this because she is the one that she started what is that song? "We didn't start the fire." Yes, you started the fire. Like, that makes no sense to me. How is she
Yeah.
gonna pull out of her podcast now?
The Rewives, I don't know. It says this is from page 6. Bethany is canceling her controversial Rewives podcast. She says, "It's the worst version of a toxic dumpster fire." She says it goes against her morals. As
You
of late, there has been so much dirt and garbage and crap, like a dark cloud over this space, this medium, the vehicle, and entertainment. She noted in the 8-minute podcast, which is titled, "It's Me, I'm the Problem, It's Me." She says, "It just feels dirty," Frankel continued. "It always felt somewhat dirty." Yeah, you shouldn't have got involved. It got dirtier, then it got toxic, and now it's the worst version of a toxic dumpster fire, and I don't want to be associated with it anyway. And I don't want to talk about it. And I don't even really want to have people on who are currently on it unless we're talking about their kids or their motherhood or something else. Oh my gosh. The Skinny Girl founder said that while she thought the podcast was a good piece of business when she launched it in 2022, her view began to change as she interviewed fellow Bravo celebrities. Like, Bethany,
but
why?
she literally sparked the match for that dumpster fire. That's why I'm confused.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Did she also not like this lawsuit that Rachel put out? Was she like, "Why are you going against Ariana this hard now?" Like, I don't
Ooh,
know.
that's a good point. I just kind of assumed that, like, Bethany was the one motivating Rachel to pursue taking legal action against both Tom and Ariana,
Yeah,
but
I don't know
maybe.
if we should put so much on her. She says that their team, reached out to her at first, so I'm not sure.
That is true too, that's another good point. Her team did, yeah. I mean, that but again, we have to take I personally, I wanna take what Bethany says with a little grain of salt too.
Yeah. Bethany, I think, and I've said this before, I enjoyed her videos of her eating bagels and, like, crabs. And I don't get why you would wanna bring all this darkness into your life if you have a good life. I never understood the point of exposing the housewives and Bravo and these women who are grown ass women who signed up for this shit, and you can't to me, I don't get how you can be a woman who is fully grown and say, "Well, they're encouraged to drink." Maybe you're encouraged to drink, but you still have a decision whether or not you're gonna do it, and many housewives don't get naked wasted on TV, you know? So or do things that are completely inappropriate on TV where then they have lawsuits, and you have to know whether or not you should be putting yourself in this type of environment or in this type of job. So, I just think that the whole thing was a shit show, and now she's pulling out, and
Yeah, it's a shit show. Period.
shit show. Alright, let's go on.
All right. So, yeah.
I think we completely exhausted that whole situation. We just want to take a quick break to give a special shout out to the person who did our podcast artwork, and that is Drami Bitch. She is an incredible artist. Please go check her out. She is on Instagram and on TikTok. She does coloring books, stickers, a whole bunch of gifts for Bravo, Vanderpump Rules especially. She has a subscription also for weekly VPR coloring pages. That's super cool. And her latest thing on her page is stop motion animations, which are phenomenal. And that's what we were talking about on the pod. You can also check out her website, shopmebitch.com. You will not be disappointed. Let's just get into Jax and Brittany
Okay.
and everything that's going on with them. So I definitely got jaxed. Okay. If you are not following, there were rumors that they were split, separated. Okay. And he said on posts that it wasn't true. There were also rumors that he cheated on Brittany on a bender in Las Vegas with the Toms, and that's why they were separated. He said that wasn't true. I really believe like people or not, I believe people, that's not true. I don't know. I definitely don't always believe people as per our last conversation. But I like to hear from sources themselves. So once he said that, I'm like, okay, not true. But I got jaxed because Brittany then says on her podcast this week that they are living in separate homes and she needed to take a break. She needs to take a break from him, take time apart for her own mental health. And she did not say that they're separating. She did not say that they're divorcing. And those are the headlines that are out there. So she says this, but it's clear that they're taking time apart. She says it. She says they're living in separate houses right now. But then we have Jax, who gets stopped by the Paps.
But does he get stopped or did he call the
I don't think he called the Paps. And there were actually a lot of times that I thought Sandoval called the Paps, and then I found out that he didn't call the Paps. But
Wait, do you
anyway,
know if he called the Paps that one time he was putting his luggage into his pickup truck?
I think he called the Paps that time.
Do you remember that he, like, could not get his luggage into the car? I was like,
Yes, that was, like, my favorite video.
"What?"
He has a lot of good Pap videos. Um, so anyway, Jax said to the paparazzi that no, he's like, "No, that's not true, like, we're not divorcing. No, she's back home now or whatever, and we're not living in separate houses anymore. We were living in separate houses, but we're not anymore." Okay. And at this point, I already know that I got jaxed the first time. So
Right.
I'm like, I'm not gonna believe him. I wanna hear what Brittany says because we know Brittany always has to correct him or speak for him on the podcast if you listen to their podcast, which I actually really like. But she has to speak for him a lot and correct him a lot. And he just says bullshit a lot. And then we see today Brittany has pictures, other paps called her, pictures moving into a rental home. So moving stuff out of their house and moving into a different rental house. So
But, like,
did he just say that temporarily because she moved there for the day? And then I think they said a source in quotes said, oh, he must have just said that because he was caught off guard. No, that's probably Brittany probably just correcting it again because he keeps doing this shit. And
and that's the other thing though too. Again, we don't have all of the info. We need way more info, but, like, sometimes people just need space. What if they just need space?
yeah, I mean, I shouldn't say I don't think he cheated on her because who the frick knows? But I don't think he cheated on her in a bender in Las Vegas with the Toms because Brittany was also saying on this same podcast that she announced that they were living in separate homes and taking time apart that she loves Schwartz and she was talking highly about Schwartz. So I think if Schwartz were part of Jack's cheating on Brittany, she would not be saying that shit. Yeah.
I guess I just didn't wanna believe that he cheated on her again, you know? I really didn't wanna believe that. I mean, listen, could yeah, like you said, we don't know what the frick happened, and I love that word "frick," by the way. Um, I just didn't wanna believe that. Part of me was like, "Okay, they've been together for a long time. They have a child now. Maybe they just needed space." Again, I don't have a kid. I don't know what that life is like, and maybe people just need space sometimes in certain ways, but,
I
um
think he did something. I mean, there's many reasons it could be. Don't forget they now have the restaurant. He said
Right.
before, like, that's how you ruin a relationship, opening a restaurant. She was nervous about opening the restaurant, and now
She
he's
was.
out all the time doing the restaurant thing, promoting shit, like, he's out all the time. Maybe he's just not home enough. Maybe he's not giving her the emotional security that she needs. Maybe he's drinking too much or something else too much. Like, there could be so many different reasons. It doesn't have to be cheating. It could be cheating. It could not be cheating. But the point is that I don't believe what he says.
No.
I'm gonna believe what she says more, and we're just gonna wait and see. And the Valley is gonna be good. It's gonna be
The
good.
valley's gonna be so good. Oh my gosh. I know you can't see me right now, but, like, just know I'm flailing a little bit because 'cause I'm so excited.
I've heard in the past, okay, is that
Mhm.
the show starts very differently than it ends, like, with the couples, and by the way, I'm not saying it's gonna be very good as in, like, I wanna see their downfall, I don't. I hope their family makes it. I think anytime there's children involved, especially, like, if you can make it work, if you're good for each other, and if you love each other, make it work, okay? And there's so
Right,
many ways
yes.
to make it work. What?
Yes. No, 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 I'm just like, "Yes, make it work," and like you were saying, there's so many ways to make it work. I'm just like, "Yes, yes," like, if you really want to, you will put in that effort and that energy to make it work,
If
you
and
know?
sometimes you need time apart, I'm sure, to figure that out also and to see if you wanna make it work. But anyway, I've heard that the couples some of the couples start very differently than they end on the show. I've heard that there's gonna be a lot of drama from Kristen, and Brittany has said also, like, Kristen is back to some of her old Kristen ways, and Jax has said this also. Brittany has said on this podcast with Michelle Lally, who's one of her co-stars or cast members, whatever you wanna call it, on The Valley, and I really liked her. I really liked her on the podcast with Brittany. I just liked her personality. I thought she was sweet, and I thought she just seemed like a girl I would hang out with.
Yeah,
But
like down to earth, yeah.
she seemed down to earth, yeah. Um, Her husband, I don't know. I don't know about her husband, Jesse. I don't know their status right now. I just
Very yeah, and also again, I have so much to catch up on, and The Valley is something that I do have to catch up on. In the
Mhm.
sense of just, like, the whole cast and everything, like, I need to do, like, my own little, like, research on everyone because I just feel like I've been so involved with, like, Vanderpump and Summer
Yeah.
House and all other Bravo legal things that are going on, but I know that do we know when it's airing, The Valley? Did they ever tell us?
Yeah, we have a date. Tuesday, March 19th, just in a couple weeks. It's gonna be the 8th episode of Vanderpump Rules is gonna, like, transition into the Valley, and the
Oh,
date
yes,
is
that's gonna be, like, the crossover thing. Okay, okay, cool. I also have Vanderpumpville in my head too. I know that's coming out on the 1st of April. Is it gonna be a crossover, like, Vanderpump ends and then it moves right into the Valley?
yeah, the Van yep, it's
Oh
gonna
my
go right
god, it's gonna be so exciting. Okay.
So, did I say it on the last podcast or not? I don't know, these get
Well,
so,
when
like,
you said
confusing.
crossover, I just assumed we would see cast members from each show. I didn't realize that they were gonna, like, literally transition from one show into the other. That is so
No. Yeah, so I think I thought I said this on the last podcast, but let me know if I didn't. The scene that I have the video of that I put up on our podcast page where Jax is at Tom Tom and he's
yeah, yeah.
leaving the restaurant, he's in the back room with the boys. I think I'm not positive. I think that might be the transition scene. Like, I think that might be why they took so long to film him leaving, but he, like, left the argument, it looked like with Sandoval, because Sandoval was in the back room and so was Schwartz, and I think Max, but I'm not sure. James was there, but James left a little earlier, pissed off, I heard. He left and he went to Sir, and Jax leaves, and I think that might be the transition where he leaves and then maybe he drives home into the valley. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just
And
thinking,
no, I could totally see that. I just imagined what you said, and I'm here for it.
yeah, especially, like, the funniness of him, like, driving home pissed off, like, maybe him calling Brittany on the way home. I don't know. I don't know. I love when they do that, like, when they did it Vanderpump, they did it from Housewives into Vanderpump. That was the best.
Yes, yes, yes.
And
Yeah,
okay, so Brittany also answered my question on this podcast, and it was really cool. And when I ask a question, I ask it for a reason.
correct.
So I was so glad that she answered it. My question was, who can you guys see being on the Valley with you? Like who from Vanderpump?
Okay.
And they said they could see Sheena, they could
Okay.
they could see Lala,
Mhm.
and they said and they could even see Schwartz.
Oh, that's a shock. I was not oh, okay, okay, okay. Wait, question not oh, but not Katie and Ariana. Okay. So, I'm pretty
No,
sure
Katie and Ariana, no. I mean, maybe Katie would. I think Kristen had mentioned Katie, but the Schwartz thing is so funny,
wait, does
right?
Schwartz though okay, I know that Sheena and Lala have homes near each other. Does Schwartz also kinda live near them? That I don't
Schwartz
know.
lives by Kristen and Luke.
Okay, so then I
So
could see that then technically, yes, I could see that. Also, I'm curious if Schwartz may wanna do that because I don't know, personally, for me, this season, I really do not only see but feel Schwartz kind of wanting to be there for Sandoval, but also separate himself. Like, they used to be an identity together, and I don't know if Schwartz wants to be that identity.
how good would that be for him if he
So
had
good.
something separate?
Yeah, because when what has he done separately, truly?
Not much.
So that's why I'm like, okay, I was shocked. I was not expecting that, but I actually could see that and I would love that for him.
Wouldn't you love that?
Yeah.
And, okay, so they say they can mostly see Sheena. So we already know Sheena's gonna be in the Valley at some point. I mean,
She
she
has to.
and we know
Yeah.
that there's crossovers, but I think she's going to be full-time. Now, here's the thing that's interesting. Sheena said on the podcast, what was she on just yesterday? Vanderpod Recaps, who we love. Thank you,
Love.
Vanderpod Recaps. She is the best. Lindsay, she does awesome recaps of all the podcasts. Go check her out. She's on Reddit and on Instagram. And she posted it. So let me see if I could find it. I believe, yes, it was Violet Benson, Almost Adulting with Violet Benson. And Sheena was on there. And Sheena said she like wouldn't leave Vanderpump, but she would be interested in doing the Valley. So doing both.
Oh, okay. That was gonna be my question. Like, would she fully remove herself from Vanderpump or no? She's gonna kind of do like a duality. Like, I'm on
I
both. I would love that. Because I don't want here's the thing.
I
I
know.
personally don't want Vanderpump to end. I really, really don't.
I
I just
know.
don't really know where else the show can go. So that's why I'm like, no, don't leave Vanderpump. But in the same breath, it's like, hey, if enough of the Vanderpump Rules people do move over to the Valley, then I think I'm going to be okay. I think I'd be okay with that. What about you?
I would be fine with it too. I don't want Vanderpump to end either. I think maybe I don't want Vanderpump to ever end, but at this point, I'm tired.
I know. And that's the thing. It's like, you know how there's a saying, it's like all good things must come to an end.
Yeah.
I'm like, is it that time? Like, is it the time where,
Yeah.
like, it kinda does now have to I don't know, obviously, I have no idea, but, like, I
It's
don't
been
want it
like
to end. It's like, I feel like I'm ending a relationship
yeah, it's been
if the
pretty,
show ends.
pretty slow. But my favorite show, one of my favorite shows is Curb Your
Wait,
Enthusiasm.
so no, I know. That's so
And
funny. I love that you just said that. Do you know I have a theory about why he says that?
what's your theory?
Okay, so hear me out.
I love him.
From a
I love him.
production standpoint, from an improv standpoint,
Yeah.
that's him. You know in Bravo Land, how they say, "Bravo, bravo, bravo," and then they're supposed to stop filming?
What?
When you know, like, the whole "Bravo, bravo, bravo," and then they're supposed to stop, like, that's their cue word to, like, "Hey, cease filming." Remember when
No, is
Denise
that why
Richards
so many people have that as their, like, profile name?
Yeah, because when Denise Richards said, "Bravo, bravo, fucking bravo," that's, like, a code word in, like, the industry for Bravo specifically, and this is all alleged, I don't know if this is true or not, but I think Kyle Richards also did confirm that. Yeah, if you're being filmed and you say that, they are supposed to stop filming.
Like a safe word?
Yeah, yes, yes, thank you. I couldn't think of that, but yes, a safe word.
Shut up.
Yeah, no, I swear.
That's
Yeah.
cool. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So my theory, right? I applied the whole Bravo, Bravo, Bravo because I started watching Curb Your Enthusiasm, and I was like, I noticed he always says that's pretty cool. And then they transition into the next topic. I think that's his way of saying, guys, we got to cut this improv scene. I don't have any more left. Let's move on.
Oh
To
my
set
god,
up the
I
show
love
is him.
that.
Yeah, that
Really?
was like a little like thing I noticed, and I was like, where did that come from? Why is that there? And I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
great, it's a staple. But also, there's a reason he keeps saying that, and I just again, watch and let me know what you think, and we could chat about
Okay.
it on, like, the next pod, but yeah, let me know what you think about that because I have
I'm going
noticed
to
he'll say
analyze the
that,
shit out of it.
and then they switch.
Okay. Interesting. God, I
But
love
yeah, I
that.
love that you just said that, and I love you.
I just, like, want to, like, put him in my pocket. But, okay, so, eh, th what was my point of bringing up Curb? Oh, because no, there was a point of bringing up Curb, the pretty hold on. But, like, how Curb, like, keeps going away and then coming back. And then you get fresh cast, and what was the freaking girl on Curb is so fucking funny. What's her name?
Who? Which one?
The daughter. The daughter who's the actress.
Oh,
Hold on, what's her name?
she, like, beat up Cheryl Hines in that one scene when they were trying to do her, like, self audition tape. Yes. So
Hold
good.
on.
So, so good.
Oh, Maria Sophia. Maria
Yes.
Sophia.
Maria
Oh,
Sophia.
man.
She is a force to be reckoned with. Like, tell me no, I'm sorry, that actress absolutely absorbed that role and provide like, she gave me what I needed for that role.
Oh my god, she's
Killed it.
amazing. Amazing. Okay, alright, anyway, let's get back to topic.
Reality
So,
TV, yeah.
yeah, but it's been really, just too slow, and we need the spice of the valley. We're excited for the spice of the valley to pump everything up, and the first look of the valley looks so much better than that stupid promo, which made it look so boring, and I don't know who did that promo, but it was not a good one, and the the first look looks amazing.
It looks so good. Again, when I saw the, like, trailer for it originally, I was at the Vanderpump Rules premiere, and I was already so hyped, obviously, to see the first episode. The energy, though, in the room while the premiere for the Valley aired was wild. So many people. Again, there's other influencers, fans there, whatever the case is. Even the Vanderpump cast was so excited when that aired. I was like, I don't know how other people are going to feel about it. And then when I like heard the cheers happening and people were standing up, I was like, "Oh my gosh. Yes."
That's good. Yeah, I'm excited. Okay, alright, so let's do a quick Vanderpump recap of episode 5.
Yes. I love that. You keep going, "Wait, is it 4 or
I
5?"
don't know why I do it every time.
I know, I love it.
You know what? It gets confusing because like, the previews come out, like, the next day for the next episode. It just all gets
Honestly,
confusing.
bro, the only reason I know is
Did you call
because
me
I'm
bro?
Yeah, why?
Wait, did you call me bro?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. I've never heard you call me bro before.
You just
Bro?
No, I said
Oh, did you call me bro? I thought you called me bro.
no, but hear me out
I
because
was like, "Why did you call me bro?" I was like, "Fine, I just never heard you call me bro before." Oh, you said bro. You said my name. I
no,
thought
but
'cause you
it's just
usually
part
call
of
me
me
ops
thinking,
on here. So I
bro.
so used to ops now that when you said it, I thought you said bro. I thought you said, "Honestly, bro."
No, but it's funny because like bro, ro, and no all rhyme, and I was like, no, bro, I called you ro.
Oh my god. Okay, dude, got it.
No, no. The only reason I know what episode it is because I'm literally writing in my notepad, like physically writing, like orthographically with a pen and paper. I'm writing like episode 5, and I have it open for when we talk. So that's the only reason I know.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
I
But
love
yes,
that you, like,
episode 5.
write notes during the episode as if you're, like
I have to. No, literally because of my working memory, I will forget things. I literally have to I'll like bullet point things, even if it's just like a I don't know, for Allie and James when they had their pool party last week or whatever the case was, I was like, "Pool party at James," just so I can be like, "Okay, what
Mm,
happened then?" You know what I mean? Like little bullet points, because
right.
sometimes I really do forget things.
No, I do too. I have to watch it, like so what I do the first time is I watch it, and then the second time I watch it and I'll, like, write a few things down, like, just to talk about on here. But I have to say something interesting. It's not related, but it's kind of interesting and kind of related. My husband and I were talking about this. I have to watch it fully because I pay such close attention in general, not just the show,
Right.
but to people's behaviors and actions. So I never noticed things like people's shoes until, like, maybe the second time. Like, people always talk about, like, Sandoval's platforms, which are I don't get why he wears platforms when he's tall enough, but whatever, that's his choice. But I don't pay attention that much to what people are wearing and things like that because my brain automatically is in tuned to, like, people's emotions and what people are feeling and what I think they're thinking, like, that's the way I look at everything. So, when I was younger, even too, in school, sometimes, like, my coworkers, because being a new teacher, when I first started, I was only 20, 22, 23, whatever, and a lot of my coworkers were, like they could be my mom, and then they could be my grandma, and we were all super close, and some of them were my age, obviously, too, but I remember the moms would, make comments about people about people's shoes, and I'm like, "I never notice people's shoes." I never noticed that, or, like, people's pants or people like, I'll notice it if I like it, if something stands out to me, but it's because I realize it's because I'm so always in tune and looking at what people are thinking and feeling. Maybe it's the empath, I don't know, but
Well,
I
yeah, no, 1,000%. I think it's being part empathetic and then also being part you is it safe to say you enjoy being observant?
yeah, I mean, I don't know if I enjoy it, it's just what
Well,
happens
yeah, I was
not
gonna say maybe
to.
not enjoy, but, like,
I guess I
you
enjoy it, yeah.
and also that's another thing. Some people are, like, hyper observant, some people are hypo observant. Like, you might be like, "Oh," I don't know. Some people, like, notice, like, changes in things, like, little changes, they're hyper observant. Some people would be like, "Wait, what? You did that? I didn't even know that." Like, hypo observant, and not for any good or bad reason. It's just, like, I do think you are empathetic, and I also think you're hyper observant in, like, a good way, you know?
Yeah, but I wouldn't observe, like, if your clothing changed, I would observe if your, like, personality or behavior changed, yeah.
Exactly, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And you, like, shared with me one time about, like, how one of your, like, childhood friends, how their parent, like, would, like, change little things in the house, and that
Yeah.
the dad would be so appreciative, and I was like, "You're hyper observant." Like, that's such a
Uh,
cool skill that you have.
yeah, 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 'cause I always like interior design and stuff, and I'd be like a little 10-year-old, and I go to my friend's house and be like, "Did you get new molding in the dining room?" And the
And, like,
dad would be
what
like,
10-year-old knows about molding? You know what I mean?
like a chair rail or a crown, like, anytime they put some new and the dad be like, "I love having you over here because you always notice, like, everything I do." And, like, that was always a theme in my life, like, the parents would always, like, love talking to me because I would notice stupid shit, like a new vase or new molding or, their patio change or they power wash their patio, like, stupid ass shit like that.
No, but little minute details, and remember after you shared that with me, I was like, "Well, me and my family used to play What's Missing from the Table," and it's, like, the best or for me personally, it was, like, the just best game to play, but then I've applied that throughout my life with, like, "Okay, look around. What do you notice? What maybe
Mm.
is missing? What's not here? What should be here?" So it's just, like, I think watching TV shows like this, I'm still acting in that way, and so are you. You're looking at everything.
Yeah, yeah. And even though I don't notice clothing one too much, unless it, like, looks good, then I'll notice it. One thing I notice is Sandoval's fucking Ken Barbie Midwestern shirt.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say his nails.
Oh, his nails are just part of him always, but, like, that shirt he was wearing in Tahoe, the black and white
Mhm,
Ken shirt,
mhm.
what's up with who does he not have a I guess he doesn't have a stylist. There's no way he has a stylist. He makes his own
I'm
decisions.
shocked that Schwartz does not share the stylist with Tom Sandoval.
Schwartz's new stylist, the
Love.
Solomon sisters, right?
Yeah.
So good.
No, because they really I feel like Schwartz's style as of lately, he is looking good. I mean, he's
Exactly.
always like, he's always looked good, right? Now I feel like he actually has a style.
Yeah. They're Stylishly Solomon, that's what their handle is, and the Solomon sisters, but they are they're doing a great job with him because he looks so much cleaner. He's not wearing, like, middle school, like, 1997, striped shirts everywhere. He's looking good.
I feel like Schwartz always looked good, but he finally, I feel like now actually has his own style.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so anyway, about the episode, Sandoval looked like Cowboy Ken, and then Sheena.
No, 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 no. I love your little like what did you say before? Ludicrous leap year. I just love the little like snippets that you say.
Oh, what are those called? Those are called something,
I
right?
know, I know.
Alliteration?
Yes, yes, it's an
Okay.
alliteration. You're right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
I love the alliterations that you come up with.
oh,
Cowboy Ken.
and I didn't come up with Shania Sheena, but I'll give that one to Sandoval. Well, actually, I really give that one to Draw Me Bitch because
Yeah,
making that
draw me
whole
bitch with that whole and now she's doing like the comics that move and I'm here for it.
oh
I'm
my god, the
so here for it.
animation.
Animation, thank you. Yes.
The freaking stop motion the freaking Schwartz one, she just did one, and it's Lisa Vanderpump, but there's a little part of it that is Schwartz, and it is so essentially Schwartz. You have to it's so fucking funny. It's so funny. I have the ad's gonna come up for her, and it'll tell people to go look at her, but anyway, um main point to the episode. Overall, I think people felt it was boring. I personally enjoyed seeing them in the Tahoe house. I know you
Me
said you like
too.
living vicariously through them there or something.
Yeah, no, no, no. Like, listen, the episode I felt like was a little nonchalant. It was a little mundane, but like I really did like seeing them there. And I felt like they all had fun with like the water sports and everything. Like it looked like a really nice time. And I've never been, so I was like, yeah, I was vicariously living through them. But it
Yeah.
was like I don't know, maybe we needed a peaceful episode after the episode 4 last week cuz last week's episode was really really heavy. So like maybe we kind of needed a little bit of a lull. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, this one had heavy parts too, but just not as bad. I know you like Sandoval laying on the on the rocks
I
looking up.
was going to say the water sports and then they end production, your editing, I really do appreciate. I think it's very artistic and Sandoval just like, that scene of him laying on the rocks. I was like, yeah, no, he hit rock bottom. That
Mhm.
adds up. That tracks.
Yeah. So I did like the episode, but I did see that a lot of people felt that way. I mean, no, there's nothing standing out. The season overall so far is quite lackluster, but I think that what people are most frustrated about is they feel like they're shoving Sandoval in people's faces and trying to make Sandoval happen, and people are like, "We're not gonna let Sandoval happen." That's what I feel like is going on.
No, literally though, I agree. So badly it is being pushed as what would it be? Is it a metaphor or a comparison? I don't know. But yeah, stop trying to make Sandoval happen. Fetch did never happen. It never happened and it just won't happen.
Yeah.
But I do, I feel like at least one thing I will say is from this episode, I definitely could understand Sheena's difficulties with her prior friendship with him.
Yeah, and we'll see that more with the preview for next episode, but, I mean, she
Looks
is
sad when she looks at him, like, you can see that she really does miss him.
it's interesting to hear Lala and her talk about Sandoval, and one of the things I asked in my story is, like, how are people feeling about Lala right now, and it's very mixed, but I think with Lala, the biggest problem that people are feeling is, like, the hypocrisy of her, and, like, she came so hard at him, and now she's, like, backing off. I don't know if she's just backing off because of her friend Sheena, though. I'm wondering if she just feels so much because of what Sheena is feeling that she's trying to back off of him also.
I don't know because also remember last week when we were talking about Lala and Schwartz at the pool scene and how I was just saying
Yeah.
like a very tender moment and I feel like they're plucking at certain strings for her. I feel like it's the same thing for Sandoval. Like
What
sober
do you mean?
in that moment, sorry. In that moment last summer, he was like sober and I feel like, she was very mindful of that. Just in the sense of like I feel like she's being so soft towards him and I really expected her to pop off way more,
Oh,
especially after the reunion and everything like that. So I just feel like,
Yeah.
when she reconnected with him when filming picked back up, she did see that he was in, like, a dark place, and he's trying to better himself with, sobriety at the time. So I just feel like that probably played at her heartstrings a little bit, and she's
Yeah.
showing a lot more grace than I thought she would. That's my point. She's showing him a lot more grace.
Right. Yeah, agree. I don't know the motive, the exact motive. I'm not really sure yet. I do find myself confused, and I love Lala, but I do find it very hypocritical that there's just a lot with Lala. Like her saying that she doesn't understand Ariana living in the house and she left the house, but yet she did not own that house with Rand, just like a totally different situation. And
And that's another thing, I don't agree with the comparison because the 2, in my opinion, are like apples and oranges, so I don't think that the 2 can actually be, like, compared.
they're very different things.
They're
But
2
she's
different, like, scandals in themselves, you know?
yeah. What did you think about Sandoval crying?
I was gonna say which time.
Yeah, crying so much is what I should have said.
Well, everybody's emotions manifest in different ways. Um, I've seen Sandoval cry throughout the years during, like, really, really, like, happy moments, if that makes sense, when he's been, like, overjoyed. Um, I feel like
Like Tom and Katie's wedding, which made no sense since he, like, would put Katie down all the time, but yeah.
yes. That
Mhm.
cry confused me, though. That one was a confusing cry. But then there were other times when, him and Tom would be talking, and they would just be having, like, a bro moment, and he would cry, and I would think that that crying was beautiful, I was like, "Wow,
Yeah.
he's a man that's showing emotion." I love that.
Really?
I love that he's comfortable enough to not just with Tom in general, but just, like, I love when any guy can, like, be emotional and show in, like, a tender moment, in, like, a
Yeah.
tender moment. Now
Wait, did you like Sandoval before Scandoval?
um, I didn't I didn't like him and I didn't love him. It was kinda like take him or leave him. So,
Ok
I always thought he was a little too cocky, and I didn't know why. Like, I was always like, "Alright, I get he's on TV, he's cool," you know what I mean? He's not, like, my cup of tea per se. I don't think he's, like, the most attractive, but I could understand, his personality type and stuff like that. I could see he could be likable, but he did come off a little bit, like, cocky-ish to me. You know what I mean? Like,
I
he
can't
thinks
believe you just called him cool, by the way. If he heard that, that's what he always wants to be called is cool.
I I feel like he
He'd be like, "Everybody thought I was cool." And I'm like, "I did not think you were cool, but maybe
No, no,
because
no,
we're a
no.
decade apart, you thought he was cooler than I did, because
No,
he
yeah,
used
I
to
didn't
annoy
think
the
he
shit
was
out of me."
cool. No, no, I didn't think he was cool. I meant, like,
Okay.
I think in his head, he thinks he's cool before all the scandal happened. I don't know, I'm just remembering Pride when I went, and I just remember how he was, like, acting and talking, and he does have this, like, way about him where it kind of for me, that's kind of a turn off. Like, I want somebody that's, like, down to earth and not so into themselves, you know?
Right, but you met him in person, so it's definitely different because you have a different view of him, I guess, from seeing him in person.
For sure, but he does okay, but he really did act in
The
person
same.
on the same yeah, as the same on TV. So I was like, okay, that
Mhm.
was something that was interesting. I like the consistency. I was like, all right, well, whatever. He presents how he does in real life on TV. Okay. I'm not using the COOL word because I'm not gonna say that. I don't want to call him that.
Don't call him cool.
But, like, for real, I truly never really felt anything towards him. Like, I really was like, take him or
You were just, like, indifferent.
yeah, because I would feel like well, I didn't like him with Katie. I always thought he was very disrespectful. I felt like if that's your best friend's woman, you should be really respecting her. So
Oh,
he always, like, irked me in different ways, but I never, like, felt the way that I felt about him after Scandoval before.
right.
Did you like him before Scandoval happened? I never asked.
No, I stopped liking Sandoval when he sat at the table with Ariana about her book, and he was, like, trying to have control. All of a sudden, he worked his way into Ariana's fucking book. That's when I stopped liking him. Before that, I thought he was, like, sleazy, but I appreciated his character more because of the show, and I liked him with Tom, and I thought he was funny, like, ridiculous, just shaving the forehead, but I stopped liking him, or I'd be like, "Oh, he's so annoying." After he sat down with Ariana at the table when she was like, "Don't you fucking roll your eyes at me," or whatever,
Yes.
because it grossed me out, and then I really, really stopped liking him with the Stassi book situation when she was doing the party at Tom Tom, and he had to be the one in control, and he was mad that she didn't ask him permission, but meanwhile she did, and Beau was sticking up for her, and it was like this whole freaking thing, and
Yep.
because it just showed me he has to be the one in charge of everything, or he has to be the one looked at, or he has to be the star, and then I was like, "Ugh, you're so," I did not like him. And then Scannable and Forget It, then I was like, "Oh, true narcissist." So that's how I felt. That's my evolution of Tom. But my point of asking was because I just thought it was interesting when he was crying. I did believe him crying this episode because he's not doing the whole like Sheena video crying where he's like, "I'm sorry, Sheena," like he's not doing that cry or like the Kristen cry, like, "Kristen, I just want you to be happy. I just want you to be happy." Like it seemed more like a real genuine cry because he wasn't performing.
I love your Sandoval impressions, especially the ones where he's crying or being, like, over dramatic, yes. No, I think no, 1,000%. Okay, so hear me out. When he was crying in the car with, Schwartz,
Okay, that's what I was gonna say. What are you gonna say?
that for me was I do think that that moment really did hit him, actually.
Yeah, it did.
I think that was a real I think that was a realization for him, like, "Oh my god, I haven't been she hasn't greeted me in a long time, and it felt nice." And I think he was overwhelmed with good feelings, that's why he cried. Because when you asked me before about him crying, what I was gonna say was, I'm circling back, this is crazy, but I don't know if I've never really seen him cry at something, like, per se sad, but I have seen him show emotions in that way with crying when he's overjoyed in certain ways emotionally.
Yeah,
So I felt like he
but
was overjoyed in that moment, and he was crying.
he did though. He did. I believed he was crying 100%, but he did take his freaking sunglasses off to show that he was crying.
No,
He
I
took
don't know.
his
He has
sunglasses
to.
off.
He has to. He's, in my opinion, shows a lot of characteristics of, a certain personality type, and yeah. I feel like those were real tears, though, but I
They were real tears, but he was like, "Oh, look, I gotta show that they're real tears. Look, everyone, I did it. I'm a real boy." And then he's wiping his tears, and I'm like, "Dude, like you just took off your fucking glasses off to show us you were crying. You could have just the tears would have dripped down anyway. You didn't have to do that." It was so weird. I thought it was so weird. And then sometimes the way Schwartz asks him things, like when he's like, "Are you crying?" I feel like he's just asking him to be like, "Look, people, he's crying."
yeah,
But
I
he like knew he was crying.
that's a moment for me when I'm like, "Schwartz, you're setting
Yeah.
him up for success in this way." Yeah. He's helping the narrative. He's doing what Lisa asked.
Yeah. Speaking of the narrative, people are very upset about that. That's what a lot of people are upset about. Although I will tell you, I was surprised when I asked it on my stories, I would say it was like 80% like that. But there was like a good 20% of people who really are looking at him, like understanding his perspective more now. And it's definitely been more and more each week. It's interesting.
Well, okay.
It's not a lot, but when I say 20% of people, sorry, it wasn't 20% solid, like, "Oh, I'm for Sandoval." It's just like, I'm starting to understand his feelings, or I could see where he was coming from with this, or, "Yes, I felt for him in this moment." Things like that. You know what I mean?
Also, I recorded my live last night, and there were people in there that really do show sympathy towards Sandoval.
Oh, so you had people in your live, like, commenting during the episode, you mean?
Yeah, for last night's episode, yeah, and
What were they saying?
so okay, well, let me be very, very clear. I saw maybe out of, like, 1,000 comments, I saw maybe 4 or 5 comments that were in defense of Tom. Like,
Mhm.
mental health is really, really serious, it should be taken seriously. We are never denying that. Mental health is, of course, serious. There was people saying that somebody and I'm trying to find it, I'm scrubbing through right now to try to find it, but it pretty much said, and I'm paraphrasing, but, like, you know, "I would love to see Tom back on TV, like, after he gets the help he needs," was the gist of it.
Interesting.
Um,
Yeah. I mean, I think, like, we didn't get any negative comments about the last podcast. I wasn't sure if people were gonna be like, "Stop defending him," because I really didn't feel like we were defending him. I really felt like we were trying to explain just the mental health portion of it and not defend him, but say, like, I'm not going to not take it seriously when somebody says that they're having these types of thoughts. Again, S or SI warning, if that's triggering for you, you might not wanna listen to this part, but I was worried that people were gonna have that response, but I didn't see that response. But I do think that it's, like, much more mixed than it used to be of people understanding his side and not. But I think the majority of people don't even want him on the show.
So, I feel like people don't necessarily wanna see him on the show anymore, but I feel like if he maybe took time off and actually did a little bit of different things than what he decided to do after Scandoval, and then came
Yeah.
back maybe for, like, a season 12, I think it would be very different for him. I do. I think that people I mean, even me personally, I definitely respect Rachel way differently than I respect Tom because she went and got help for herself and at least tried, you know what I mean? That
Mhm.
already, like, because for me, like, Tom, you doing special forces is not therapy. It could be therapeutic in a sense, sure, but it's not that is not a therapy program, you know?
You think Tom took that as, like, his penance?
Well, yeah, I mean, and he even said it, like, on Special Forces too, like, "I'm doing this to punish myself." I think he thought if he went through that, then he would
Right.
be able to forgive himself, and then that's all that matters at the end of the day.
Oh my god, no, you're so right. He did look at it like that, like he punished himself.
He's
That was
forgiven himself, we have not. That's where the struggle comes in, because in his reality, it's all done, it's over.
okay, hold on, I need to think about what you just said. You think he's give me a second to process that. You think he's forgiven himself, huh? Yeah, I think you're right. Hold on. He's forgiven. That's a good point. He's forgiven himself.
That's how I've taken it. That was the impression it left on me. When I heard that in Special Forces, I was like, "Oh, he's doing this so he can forgive himself and move on with his life, and he's not regarding the public because he's Tom. So as long as he can forgive himself, then that's why he's able to so confidently say, you know, and act in the way that he's acting now on interviews and everything like that. Like, we're all confused, like, "How could you be like this?" And in his head, I feel like he's like, "What do you mean? It's all forgiven."
Yeah. Yeah, I think the way a lot of people feel in general is like when they say I'm sorry to someone or to about a situation, right? If they said I'm sorry once or whatever it is, they feel like it's enough because they did that, but it's not enough. And I might have said this on one of the other podcasts, but I'll never forget like a comment somebody made on one of my posts about it not that long ago, and they said some things some indiscretions require multiple apologies and in different ways and different forms. An apology is like you can give it, but like is a person receiving it and understanding it. And honestly, I don't even think it matters at this point. Like, I don't think he needs to apologize to anyone else. That's not even the point. The point I think is just him acknowledging it. And when he's taking that freaking was it an axe? I'm not a big tool person. The irony of the tool though, throwing this tool. But what was it? An axe? Like when they were doing the
Mean the
wall.
sledgehammer?
Sorry, thank you. A
No, I'm
sledgehammer.
saying, like, the sledgehammer that they were hammering, and w I it's so funny, Ops, because if you saw my phone right now, I literally have it on my live from last night, specifically on that scene, because the comments went off during that scene.
Oh, yeah. He's friggin' using the sledgehammer and calling out everything that everyone else did except for his fucking self. And like, what are you doing? What are you doing? That's not the point. That wasn't the point of it.
That is his reality. Does that make sense? That is how I perceive Tom's reality.
Yeah, that is his reality, and that's the problem, and, like, I think and people were saying actually when talking about the podcast, they're like, "I don't wanna hear too much about Tom Sandoval," and I don't blame them because it's getting annoying, like, go to therapy, go do your work, go figure out what you did wrong so that other people can then get over it, and then you'll be fine and happy, okay, and everybody will go give you endorsements again and all that shit, but, like, you need to take some accountability for the shit that you did,
And we
not in
will
terms
get
of
over it.
apologies.
Like, we
What?
really will get over it. I promise we'll get over it if you just took a little bit, different onus, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Anyway.
that scene had to be spoken about though, Ops, because truly, that was one of the only scenes I wanted to talk about because I was like, "My guy, are you seriously hitting the wall screaming 'worm with a mustache' and not labeling any of the actions you committed, yet labeling all of the actions others committed because of the actions you initially committed? Make
Because of you,
sense."
and yelling "Lala."
Yep. Yep.
See Lala and James, like,
I
what?
mean, like James too, because you know how much I mean, Lala was really with the whole send it to Daryl and all this other stuff. He could be hitting the wall for Rachel in that moment. That's how I perceived it too. He's getting all
Oh,
his aggression out. Like, how dare you do that to me and to Rachel? He was pretty much screaming everything that happened or had to deal with Sandoval, which also included Rachel. You know what I mean?
it yeah, it's so crazy because he could have had such a good moment of like,
Yeah.
"I can't believe I did this. I hurt Ariana. I hurt my friends. I did it." And then, like, been sobbing, and everybody would have been like, "Wow,
Did he
look at it.
compare himself
He
to
did
Charles
it."
Manson?
Doesn't he needs to watch other movies for inspiration, not Varsity Blues. What?
Did he compare himself to Charles Manson?
Hold on. I had a few people bring up Charles Manson. When did he
He
say
must
that?
have said something like that because people are like, he did not just compare himself to Charles Manson.
Oh, of course he would. He would compare himself to literally probably anyone. He, like, just oh god. Alright.
Oh, and somebody wrote in my live during that scene, this is the exact moment I see Katie understand how she made the best decision of her life.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I loved when the girls were like my husband laughing too, and they were like just saying how they'd rather do anything than be there with them. I get why they didn't go, but man, that place is
Oh,
beautiful.
yes, that was gorgeous.
Let's talk about Lisa with the dog and James because this settled people have been blaming Lisa this whole time. And yeah, what we said on the podcast last time, the second thing ended up being what happened. And it's interesting because, oh, do you want to talk about what Rachel said on her podcast actually? Because you did the live with that. Do you know what I'm talking about with Rachel? Because if you don't, then we won't talk about it. Because I don't know, I don't remember exactly what she said, but she just said she was happy to see that Lisa didn't bring up something with the dog.
Yeah, the euthanization thing. I never say that word right.
Oh, euthanization. Yeah, yeah, yeah. What did she say?
Because that was over the summer, remember? That was, like, the story that came out, and Rachel I think that's why she wanted to, like, defend that that was not what happened, so in this week's episode, it was not spoken about in that manner, that, the dog was only a few hours from being euthanized and stuff, so she was happy about that.
Oh, Rachel thought that that was gonna come out. Right, right, right.
So, also, that's interesting, though, because we can see now how stories do kind of just come out of nowhere, and then look, it was confirmed. I mean, I guess it was confirmed, right? That like that did not happen. Graham wasn't hours away from being euthanized.
Right, unless Lisa took it out, but
Jesus,
yeah.
I don't know because other people were saying that too. That maybe production edited that part out.
I think if Lisa thought the dog was hours away from being euthanized, she would've gone even harder though, but I'm not sure.
I mean, same here because she's literally like she's a dog mommy. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm like,
Yeah,
I can't see her staying quiet on that.
yeah. My question is, like, when did she get the dog training? Because the dog was obviously better, and so I guess, like I said on the podcast last week, I'm thinking the time from when but she got the dog some training, and then gave the dog to James? Because they were saying that the dog was so well behaved in Tahoe. However, I was watching what was I watching or listening to just today? Somebody was confirming about Graham being aggressive, but they were saying it's when he's around food, like his food bowl,
Oh, well,
which
food aggression is so different, I feel like, than just I mean, at least in my opinion, food aggression is a lot different than just, like, r random aggression,
I
arbitrary.
don't know if it's only the food bowl, but that's what they were saying. Yeah, they were saying that it's they've only ever seen him with the food bowl.
Food aggression can be horrendous, but I was just
Yeah.
saying, like, food aggression also could be isolated, like, some dogs act awesome, and then once you place a food bowl in front of them, then they go nuts, they change completely their behavior, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we were taught when my dog was a baby, like, play with him while he was eating to get him used to while
Yes,
he
no,
was
no, same here,
eating,
I'm like, you can't see me, but I'm shaking my head up and down, literally same, yeah.
and then who we would do, like, we would teach him it was really cute, but he would learn, "Okay, sit, wait," and then when he was ready to eat, we'd say, "Mangia," 'cause we're Italian, so go
Yes,
eat.
oh, I love that stuff, and I love that so much.
But he is a really good I mean, my dog's a crazy little dog because he's not little. I don't know why I say little, but he's a little guy to me. But,
Yeah.
he's crazy because he's super calm and cuddly and chill, but then he also has so much energy, and, like, if you are not there, he will jump on the counter, if you're not home or not in the room and look for food. So, as much as we trained him and we he had a lot of training, and he's really good, but he will jump on a counter. I used to come home from work before my daughter was born. I used to come home from work, and he'd be freaking sitting he's a 35-pound dog on our dining room table, like, just chilling in the sun because the sun would hit the dining room table, just chilling there like,
Taking a fat nap, just
"Hey," just hanging out on your ridiculously expensive dining room table that you should have never bought. Um, but anyway, the point is that I do think that dogs need really important good training because they have their own inclinations, and I think that it's natural for them to have food aggression for in a lot of cases, because that's probably how it is in the wild. But it was nice to see the dog being so well behaved, and I wonder if Rachel felt any comfort in seeing the dog being happy.
Yeah, that was actually okay, so that was a question I had. Well, first off, I do have to say, okay, specifically for that scene, I did question, what if Graham runs up to Sandoval like, "Hey, friend, I remember you."
Yeah, you know what? I never thought that just because I feel like Sandoval is not like a very like, "Oh, come here, little
True, true.
guy."
The only reason I thought that is because that, like, last scene that he shoots for season 10 with Rachel, Graham is there. So that's why I
Yeah,
was like, he was around Graham. Graham knew him. How
I know.
awkward would that be if Graham beelined right to Sandoval, you know what I mean? It was a fleeting thought that, like, passed my mind.
That would be so funny. That would have been really funny. That would have been good. That would have been good TV, actually. I kinda wish
Right?
that
That
happened.
would have been hysterical.
Allie's a smart girl, I
I
think.
love Allie. Allie is just the best. Also, what she said about, like, how she handled that situation, I think really says a lot about herself. She just, I
Yeah.
feel like, is handling it with such, like, grace and class. And, like, I thought she was so respectful when she said, well, hey, if Raquel can become Rachel, we can change Graham to Hippie, right? Like, I didn't feel
Mm,
like that was disrespectful in any way. I felt like she was really looking at it like, yeah, like, we could do this. Things happen.
yeah. I think she really acknowledges Rachel's feelings, to acknowledges people's feelings. She doesn't wanna have Rachel in her life, but I think she acknowledges.
Understandably so. Yeah.
Yeah. But just like, "This would be mean," or, "She must feel this way." She's just, like, an empathetic person, it seems like. I like Allie a lot. Okay.
Yeah.
How awkward was Lisa at the table? Can you say one nice thing about Sandoval?
Alex, it was so awkward. It was so okay, also, I literally wrote this down, okay? I wrote Lisa putting James on the spot, and then, like, 3, 4 seconds later, he's in the confessional, he's like, "Thanks for putting me on the spot, Lisa." I mean, I was like,
Yeah.
literally, that is the worst feeling. I don't I don't like being put on the spot personally. I think I handle being put on the spot well, but that doesn't mean I like it, and that was
Yeah.
just awkward.
That was so freaking I don't know, I just thought it was so
I just feel like she's trying to rush
funny.
everything. Like, you're trying to force and rush stuff. Like, let things kind of flow naturally. It's a big deal that we're all even sitting at the table. Remember last week when you were saying, like, Brock should be Sheena's cheerleader and celebrate
Yeah.
the little baby
Oh,
steps?
by the way, I had to cut that out of the podcast because we had no time. I'm gonna add that to the second podcast that we release tomorrow. But
Okay,
yeah, go
well,
ahead.
then let's definitely talk about that. So, you've mentioned before how with OCD and stuff like that, like being somebody's cheerleader, celebrating baby steps. I feel like not just with OCD specifically, but like with anything, things should be celebrated, even if it's a little baby step, because that does show growth and that shows movement forward. So, like, Lisa, celebrate that they're all sitting there together. That's your win right now.
Yeah. When she said it, like, it was so awkward, but I felt so bad because I could see her face, and she's afraid for him.
Did she not look
She's
like a mom? Like looking
She
at,
looked like a mom. She looked like that's the feeling I get from her with him right now. Like, it's like she's trying.
but also I feel like she would have gotten such a better conversation if she would have been like, "Hey, what's everybody's like rose and thorn of the trip or something?" and been less
Sh
specific.
She's not equipped in that way.
Yeah.
It's like we're a different generation, And many people in that generation are not as equipped to do things that way. They're also more set in like different ways. And nothing against them. It's just the way it is. Like the younger we get, like your generation, you have more tools than my generation had. You know, the generation right before me had less than I have. Like it's just the way it is. And I feel like she just doesn't know how to deal with things in the way that we've learned is a better way to do it. And I think she's just trying anything she can. I just thought it was so funny. Name something name something. What did she say? Name something you like or name something nice about Sandoval.
Yeah, she was like, "Tell us one thing that you like about him." And I was like, "What? That's so
Okay.
random." I thought she would ask like, "Oh, what are you guys gonna get for dinner?" You know? Like,
Yeah.
but okay, what I will say is she was trying. I think that's what we both felt. She's really
Yeah.
trying.
Yeah. She was trying. Like half people think she's like just being so manipulative, which I get why people think that. I just don't think she's being manipulative. I think she's really just
I don't think she's doing it to be manipulative. I think it could come off like that, but I really do think that she is trying, and I do think she is concerned about Sandoval. I do.
yeah. People think Lisa's interjecting too much in the show, which she probably is. I did feel like this was the first episode where I felt like I think it's just a little bit too much Sandoval. I get it, he wasn't in the first episode, but now it's like Sandoval, 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 and I could use a Sandoval break. And they're not showing enough of Katie and Ariana, and I don't know why.
Agreed, because I just want to see Ariana and Katie, and I feel like we're not getting any of that. Like, it opened up with like, "Does my car smell like weed?" No. Okay. I feel like that's all we really got to see of them. That's the blip I remember.
Yeah, and also, are they gonna film in something about her even though they're not open? Like, I wanna see the inside more. Like, where is the inside? Why aren't they showing us?
I do think that they're going to, right?
Mm, I hope so. Alright, let's stop our Vanderpump stuff there. I'm Vander tired right now. Oh, quickly before we go, the Lego picture.
Yeah.
So, the Lego picture that has been which, by the way, I didn't know it was Legos, did you? The picture of Sandoval and Ariana, I forgot that that was a Lego picture.
I absolutely forgot that that was a Lego thing. I only recently remembered that when I was like, "Oh my god, those are all Legos? That's so cool."
You say Legos like such a New Yorker, like Lego my ego. I love it. So now it makes more sense why they kept it there because that's a lot of work and that's a really nice piece of artwork. But they're saying that they're going to change the Lego picture to be just Ariana. And I saw somebody said, why don't you change Sandoval to Maya?
I love that idea. Oh my gosh, imagine a little Maya Ariana portrait,
It would be
Lego
really cute.
version.
Or maybe Charlotte, you know?
That would be really, really cute.
Yeah.
Actually, that would be the most sweetest, would be Charlotte, yeah.
Okay, so we are done for today. That was a lot. There is a lot going on.
So, if any planets wanna, like, get aligned so that nothing else happens in the Bravoverse for the next few weeks, that I would appreciate so, so much, but I feel like this was a good recap as best we could of the events that transpired in Bravo this week.
Yeah. Crazy week. Let's see what happens next week. I'm sure there's going to be more shit. There's something every day. Jackson, Brittany next week are going to be living in a castle in Kentucky. Um, all will be fine there. But thank you guys for joining us. Let us know on our messages, please. We said with some kind critique. We are open to some feedback and we appreciate it. And we like reading it too.
We love reading it, absolutely. Thank you guys so, so much for listening, and we enjoy doing this. This is so much fun, and I just feel like it makes it a little bit easier that, like, we're all in this together, we're getting all this info at the same time, we're chatting about it, so let us know if you have any other thoughts about anything else. DM us. We love to hear from you.
Yeah, please, wherever you're listening to our podcast, give us a follow so you get alerts and make sure you leave a review. That would be super helpful for us. Thank you guys.
Later.
Later.